This is for education purposes only. Our group allow our instructors, Mr. Rold and Ardines, to use this as an educational material.
Hi everyone, so today we're exploring
Challenges Singapore
Balancing different goods and values can be.
Hi everyone, today we're exploring the self. From a sociology point of view, we'll see how the self is just something inside us, but is shaped by our interaction with the world around us. We'll look at how modern society influences our sense of self and how we balance being individual with being part of a group.
The self as a product of modern society. Sociologists say that the self isn't something we're born with. Instead, it develops as we grow and interact with others. We learn what's considered normal behavior, what's valued, and what's expected of us. This can really shape us of how we see ourselves and our place in the world. Think about how we learn to be polite, or think about how we shape ourselves, or to follow rules. These are all social lessons that shape our self-image. In addition, social media is a big example today. Sites like Instagram, Facebook, all of the sites shows us images of what's considered beautiful or successful. This can really influence us of how we see or how we feel about ourselves and what we think should be like. It's like a constant reminder of social expectations.
The sociological perspective, I versus me. George Herbert made a famous sociologist talk about the two parts of the self, the I and the me. The I is the spontaneous, creative part. It's your own personal thoughts and feelings. The me is the part that knows social roles and tries to fit in. It's learned from society. Imagine, you want to shout out in the class the I, but the me remembers the rules about being quiet and respectful, so you don't. This shows the constant push and pull between our personal desires and what society expects.
Self versus collective self. The individual self is who you are as a unique person. It's your personality, your likes and dislikes, or your dreams. The collective self is how you see yourself as a part of a group, your family, friends, school, or even your country. It's about sharing your values and beliefs with others. For example, you might love basic individual, but you keep down at night because your neighbors might complain collective. We constantly adjust our behavior to fit in with different groups. In conclusion, while the individual self emphasizes personal uniqueness and internal experiences, the collective self highlights our interconnectedness and shared identities with various social groups. These two aspects are not mutually exclusive but rather dynamically interact, shaping our overall sense of self and influence.
Let's think about how we react in different situations. At work, we often behave in a professional way, even if we don't feel like it. This is an example of the collective self. We're trying to fit in with the group and meet their expectations. But when we're with close friends or family, we're usually more relaxed and can just be ourselves. That's the individual self. It's interesting how we naturally adjust depending on who we're with and what's going on. Another example is a sports team. Each player has their own skills and personality. That's their individual self. But when they're on the field, they work together, follow the team's plans, and support each other. That's the collective self. Whether it's at work, with friends, or on a team, we're always balancing these two sides of ourselves to get along and do our best.
Challenges in balancing the self. Balancing the individual self and the collective self can be challenging because it often involves navigating personal desires and the expectation of others. Like, for example, you might have deep passion for art and dream of becoming an artist, but your family might have different aspiration for you, such as wanting you to become an engineer or a doctor. This conflict arises because your individual goals and identity may not align with the values, priorities, or hopes of the group you belong to, whether it's your family, community, or society. When these differences merge, they can create significant emotional and mental pressure. On one hand, you might feel strong need to stay true to yourself and pursue what's make you happy and fulfilled.
Balancing different groups with different values can be tough, especially when you feel pulled in many directions. Trying to meet everyone's expectation all the time can leave you feeling drained or out of touch with yourself. Sometimes the best thing you can do is focus on what's most important to you, even if it means saying no or disappointing others. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's important because if you always focus on others, you'll end up feeling exhausted and lose sight of your own needs. By looking after yourself first, you can be stronger and more helpful to others without burning out. When you're okay, you can give more to the people who matter. With time, you'll begin to trust yourself and understand that you don't have to fit in with every group. Finding balance means being true to who you are, even if it's not what others expect.
Modern impacts on the self. The internet and social media have a huge impact on how we see ourselves. We can connect with people all over the world, sharing our ideas and finding communities. But it also puts pressure on us to present a perfect image which can be unhealthy. For example, is when someone posts a vacation picture on Instagram. They may carefully choose the best photo, edit it with filters, and write an engaging caption to present an idealized version of their trip. They might not share the less glamorous aspects like delayed flights, bad weather, or moments of stress. People viewing the post may compare it to their own lives. People inadequate or envious because they only see the polished version, not the reality behind the scenes. This can create pressure for both of the creator and the poster and the viewers to maintain a realistic standards.
Modern impacts on the self. Workplace culture also plays a role. Companies often have specific ways they want employees to act and communicate. This shapes how we behave at work, even if it's different from how we act elsewhere. Sociology in modern times significantly impacts the self by shaping how individuals perceive and construct their identities through social interactions. Particularly, through the influence of social media, consumer culture, and changing societal norms, leading to a more fluid and complex understanding of self. Often referred to as the looking glass self, where individuals see themselves through the eyes of others in essence. Their perception of themselves is influenced by how society perceives them.
As a summary and conclusion, to sum up, the self is a complex thing shaped by both our personal experiences and the society we live in. We're always balancing our individual desires with expectations of the group we belong to. Understanding this helps us to better understand ourselves and other relationships with others.
The self is not a static entity, but a dynamic and ever-evolving construct. Modern society, with its complex social structures and rapid cultural shift, exerts a profound influence on how we understand and experience ourselves.
Thank you for listening to our presentation in the Self in Sociology. We hope you find it helpful. Let us know what you think.